Freeze! Scumbag, you're watching the podcast Stop Crying Poser, greatest podcast known to man, as voted by every police officer and also every criminal. So if you've ever known a criminal or a police officer, they both have decided that this is the greatest podcast known to man. Who do we have in the chat room? Cam702, Polartel, Day, OGZ, Paul Miranda, Fletcher, Day, Eric Royce, Paul Miranda, Fletcher, Day, Dick Maximus, Paul Miranda, OGZ, Polartel, Chillin, Pete, OGZ, Eric Royce. Hopefully I did not miss anyone. We do this podcast every single Friday, right around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. What do we have to talk about today? Not a whole lot. Not an eventful week. I have a couple of topics today. Maybe I can make you guys laugh, but probably going to be a shorter podcast. Let me start by explaining my dreams. My dream. Usually I save the dream topics for the end of the podcast, but it's fresh on my mind and we have nothing else to talk about. So in my dream, you guys have heard of like the UFC, right? Well, I'm a UFC fighter in the dream, except I'm fighting under a smaller promotion called BELLATOR, which I think they have a circular cage. I think it means like warrior in Italian or something. So it makes sense I'd be dreaming about this. I never watch BELLATOR. Anyways, they got me in there on some type of freak show fight and I have to fight an actual real trained fighter. So the odds are stacked against me. You know, there's probably a 1 in a billion chance I'm going to win this fight. But you know what? I got my gloves. I did my training. I'm ready. I got my coach behind me. Who's my coach? I don't know. It's a dream. Who fucking knows? Everyone thinks I'm going to lose. We start the fight. This guy goes for a single. I wrapped him up in a guillotine. And I cranked back on the guillotine. I can feel it slipping out. So I just crank back even harder. And I feel he's about to slip out. And then his feet come off the ground. Guy's feet come off the ground. I'm suspending him with my pretend like made up strength that only exists in dreams. I'm choking this guy out off of his feet. You know, he's starting to go limp. He taps out. He's tapping on me, but I keep pulling back. And then I suplex the guy as he taps out. And the height of the BELLATOR cage, in reality, it would never work out like this because I'm only 5'7". But in the dream, I suplexed him over the cage and he tumbled out of the cage and landed in the audience. Everyone's going nuts, you know. Everyone saw that he tapped out, so I'm automatically like the winner, you know. And then I'm sitting there ready. I'm excited. I'm celebrating. Like, dude, what are the odds? I was never supposed to win this. This is crazy. And then they start saying it was a disqualification because that guy had left the cage, even though the fight was called off due to him tapping out to the submission. So they took my victory and they reversed it. They turned it into a no contest, which makes no sense because they already had waved it off. I wasn't able to let go of him. He tapped while he was upside down. So me letting go of the guy, I let him go. He falls out of the cage. I don't think that would ever really happen. Although back in the early UFC days, I think it was pre-UFC 10, somebody got lifted up and they said they tried to push the other guy out of the cage on some the floor is lava shit. Like if I push him out of the cage, or it's a sumo match. If I push him out of the cage and his feet touch the ground, he automatically loses, which was not the case. I think also pre-UFC 10, somebody got like shot on with a gun. No, somebody tried to take another fighter down and they broke through the door of the cage, which is funny. Man, brings back the memories of like the wrestling ring breaking. You ever watch a pro wrestling event and like somebody fucking falls and the ring falls apart? Or I think there was one where Mankind fell through the ring. And I think there was another one I recently saw where somebody just grabbed the top rope and just ripped it off. Anyways, that kind of happened in my dream, and I was wondering if I could ask you guys, what do we think the dream means? Perhaps the dream's meaning is that even when I'm the winner and I do everything fair and square, and even though I'm a big underdog to ever be successful, maybe the dream is that I feel like they're just going to take it away from me no matter what. What if I am the best at something? What if I am the funniest skateboarding commentator ever? What if it's beyond obvious? Everyone can see that the guy's tapping out, right? But I'm still never going to get the grand prize. Maybe that's what it means. Maybe it's a story of fear. Maybe it's a story of overcoming adversity and never getting credit for it. Who knows? You know, I'm content knowing that no one's going to ever appreciate my accomplishments on like skating media. Fine, good. But maybe there's a fear of something else, and you guys can tell me what the hell is going on with this dream. Also, kind of a cool dream. You know, I won. I picked the guy up. I fucking suplexed him over the whole fucking cage. Who else can do that but me and John Jones 2 Saturdays from now? So that's what happened. It was kind of an eventful week earlier in the week because we had this thing in America called the election, which is really fucking annoying. Everything shuts down. You can't even watch TV. You can't listen to the radio. It's nothing but bullshit. You can't even sleep. You know, I sleep in. I sleep late. I go to sleep at like 3, 4 in the morning, and I get up, you know, after 12 or 1. I wake up multiple times between 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, where I'd usually be sleeping, to text messages that go, make sure you vote for Trump, or make sure you vote for Kamala. Don't you dare fucking in it. Oh, I need your help. America needs your help. Just bullshit every day, and I'm even getting them still now. So I'm happy the election's over. We were talking about this a little bit in the pre-show. Donald Trump was the winner, and the day of the election, we watched it, we tracked it a little bit late at night here live on Twitch. By the way, I stream on Twitch 5 days a week, so follow me here if you're not already, if you happen to be listening to this on another platform. So anyways, we tracked it for a while. And I was like, dude, tomorrow on social media, once we find out what happens, it's going to be crazy. I expected a lot more like cockiness and douchebaggery from the Trumpers. And I expected the lefties to be doing a lot of like screaming at the sky, crying, blue hair. I can't believe this happened. And it turns out the next day was nothing that exciting. You know, just another day. Life goes on. I think that's a good thing, right? I think I was being cynical in my thoughts that everyone would be going crazy, but it doesn't seem that bad. Even Facebook, you know, I see a couple of people that are like, well, that's bullshit or whatever. I also noticed, not that I am an election analyst, we talked about this a little bit in the show before we did the podcast as well, is that it seems like, you know, again, I'm really dumb when it comes to analyzing elections. I'm super dumb. It seems like 15 million Democrats decided not to vote, which is really odd. And it sort of piggybacks the conspiracy that something awkward and odd happened in 2020. Some people were saying, oh, it was during COVID, so that means people didn't have anything to do, so they were more likely to vote. And I was like, well, that seems weird, you know, with half the country dying and sick, that there would be 15 million extra votes. So for the people that think there was something fishy, it kind of gives us some bait, me being one of them, kind of gives us some bait of something odd happened last year, or maybe something odd happened this year. But I am happy that it's over, and I don't care either way. I am a little bit nervous, though, guys, because I've been bitching about the Joe Biden prices for many years, 4 years to be exact. And if in 2 years I'm still bitching about the price of eggs, you guys have the full authority to call me a fucking idiot. Actually, you guys can call me dumb anytime you want. You know, we have a pretty open stream here, pretty open podcast. You guys can call me dumb whenever you feel like it. But I'm opening myself up to to try to be consistent, right? If eggs skyrocket again, and bacon and chicken wings, what about the chicken wing market, man? I used to go to a bar that had 50-cent wing night. Now you're lucky to get a wing for $1.20. Anyways, I try to be consistent with that. stuff going on. What else has been going on with me? Well, I got pretty drunk the other day on, I think it would have been on Saturday or Friday. One of these days, I went to a bar down the street called Bourbon Street, which is a New Orleans themed bar. If you get enough tickets, you can win like little beads, and there's also slot machines and gambling. There's also a basketball machine that doesn't work. It's a bunch of really run down games that you would find in like an old arcade. Basketball, there's a racing game where you sit down and you have a steering wheel and you race the person next to you. And there's one where you have to kill like dinosaurs with a gun. You know, like little circus games. There's also a game where you can play Flappy Bird. You know, you put in a token, you play Flappy Bird and try to win little prizes. Anyways, I was there and they opened a new little bonus drink thing, right? If you're gambling, you get drinks for free. That's kind of exists across this entire city for now. Sometimes you have to be a little clever to do it, but generally that's how it works. And usually you get like a light beer, or you can get like a vodka soda or something like that. Anyways, this place will give you a 16-ounce beatbox, which is 11 or 12. No, I think it's 16 ounces. I want to get this right. I think it's 16 ounces and it's 11% alcohol. So you get that for free. So I go in there, I gamble $10. I get this extremely alcoholic drink the whole thing. They'll even put it on ice for you, which as far as the way that the comps go for them giving you free drinks, it doesn't make any sense for them to get you that drunk for that low of an amount of money. But I think they haven't figured it out yet. They haven't gotten the policy just right. So I went in there, man, got a beatbox going, had a beer, came home drinking 211, and I'm trying to pay attention to my stream, dude, and I'm just hammered after only having a couple of drinks. Then before that, I had a Sapporo. So I'm mixing all the alcohols, and it's always humbling. It doesn't happen to me that often because usually I drink light beer. I drink Michelob Ultras most nights. So I never get like that out of nowhere drunk feeling. It's always a really slow burn. Because Michelob Ultras are like 4% alcohol, 4.5%, something like that. There's no way you could pound those things as fast as possible and you'd still like slowly arrive to drunk. But pounding the beatbox in like, 5-10 minutes, and then the Sapporo before that at dinner, and then a fucking 211 on the heels of that, tall can, 8%. I'm on stream, dude, and just out of nowhere, I'm just like, shit. So, that was fun, nice and cheap. I did manage to avoid the hangover. And for those of you who were here, I think that was on Wednesday, actually. For those of you that were here, hopefully I didn't say anything too crazy. I'm deciding that I have two moods. Either like I'm super shit-faced hammered and I can't focus on the chat, or my new mood is I eat a gummy, like a weed gummy, and then all I want to do is talk about food for the next 2 hours on stream. We'll watch nothing but cooking videos, and I have no plans to cook. I know I'm just gonna go right in my freezer and grab a burrito or something. So I don't know why I'm watching all these Michelin star chefs make a fucking Wellington when I'm gonna go in there. I'm just gonna eat some fucking burrito slop. But those are my two moods. And you know what? If you can't accept me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. So that's the thing. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, that's kind of been the way it goes. And then there's a third mood, which is the Sunday and Monday mood, which is where I show up groggy, complaining, and I say, I'm never drinking again. I'm not drinking tonight. I'm not drinking tomorrow. I'm not drinking on Tuesday. I'll probably drink on Wednesday. Okay, you got me there. But then Thursday, that's the third mood. It's like I'm too fucking drunk to pay attention to the stream. I'm high and all I want to do is talk about food. And then there's me just mad at alcohol for what it's done to me over the past Friday and Saturday. So just learning a little bit more about myself. Which leads us into our next topic, my flatbar, my skateboarding flatbar. Andy Schrock went on I shouldn't say a rant, a soliloquy. the other day on his channel where he talked about being afraid of basic skateboarding tricks. And it's a mental thing. It's not so much a physical thing. You know, I approach my flat bar and it's only 11 inches off the ground. I know that I'm probably not going to fall that hard. But for some reason, tricks that used to be very easy, for example, a kickflip back lip, a trick that I've done on my flat bar, honestly, over 1,000 times. You know, I was a kid. I probably did it 30, 40 times a day. And then you times that by skating for 24 years. So I've done this trick so many times, but for some reason, now the old version of me getting over the mental hurdle of really trying to stick your first attempt. You know, I can whiff a couple of tricks out there, throw the skateboard up, you know, kind of get my body moving. But for me to actually commit and try to do the trick, I get really scared. And Andy has a similar phenomenon happening that he described on that video. But I think one thing that would chill me out, honestly, is if I lowered the flat bar. So I'm kind of in the market for getting a flat bar that's maybe 8 inches. And if you look at an 8-inch flat bar on film, it's going to look like, it's going to resemble a curb, you know, it's going to be tiny. But for me, it's more about enjoying the skateboarding and still challenging myself without it being super crazy stressful. Because even when I was first learning a kickflip back lip, there wasn't this much like mental stress. It was kind of like, flip the board out there. If you don't land it, you're just going to fall down. Fall's not going to be that bad. And it's no different now. You know, I know if I flip that particular trick, and even if I don't land it, like really the worst case scenario, not a lot of things can go wrong with that trick. I'm either going to land on my feet, I might land 1 foot on the ground, 1 foot on the board, or I'll actually get on the rail and slip out, or I'll land on the rail, 1 foot on the board, and the board will teeter-totter into the inside of my knee. There's kind of only 4 ways that a lot of skateboarding tricks can go wrong, especially in that specific context of just that trick on that flat bar. There's not a lot of things that can go wrong, so why am I so scared? I don't know, but I'm having a really hard time overcoming it. So I'm also explaining this to you guys because I'm in the market for a new flat bar, and I would like it to be pretty similar to my current flat bar. Although I'm kind of not sure if I want to go round bar or square bar. But my question is, what is the most cost efficient way to get a new flat bar, to get someone to weld one for me? Because I'm not going to get one of those shitty Element flat bars that I've seen for the past 2 decades where, you know, you pull it out and it's like jiggling and shit, and there's just a terrible little pin that goes in it, and it's never completely level. You know, it's always like, if you touch one side of it, the other side goes up. You know, it's like a warped ass flat bar, shaky. Hey, some of them break into 2 pieces, which is also a disaster. I got to jump onto a flat bar that actually is a 3-piece thing that can come apart at any time with no stability. It can flop over at any time. So the general idea that we talked about earlier today was I need to go to like a weld shop or a fabrication place, and they'll make one. And I would hope they can make one for a reasonable price. You know, I'm kind of in the market for spending only about $60, I feel like. If I could get a 2x2 inch square or 1.5 inch square, and then maybe 8 inches tall, maybe 5 feet long, I would hope that the material, the amount of the cost for those materials has got to be like $20, and then the labor, another $40. You know, probably would take like an hour to get that welded up. So you imagine those guys charge quite a bit for what they're doing. So $60 kind of seems like something I could swing, but maybe you guys have a life hack. I also should probably go on like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and offer up and put like an alert. I know you used to be able to do that for Craigslist. You could put an alert for anytime someone types in the word flat bar and something's for sale, it'll send you an email. I think I actually have that. I don't know if it's turned on or not for Craigslist. I used to have an alert on Craigslist for any time in the jobs section, not the blowjobs section. It's the next one down. The jobs section where you can apply for a job. Anytime a job said the word skateboard in it, it would send me an email which never worked out because there's one skateboarding distributor here that they just want an intern to go over there and fucking put grip tape on boards or something. I don't know, some manual labor ass bullshit. They're going to pay me $10 an hour. That sounds fucking stupid. But I don't know why. Maybe it has worked out though. I got a couple of good skateboarding jobs, just generally doing like demos for conventions because of that alert. So if you guys live in a town that Craigslist is still something that's used and you're a big fan of skateboarding, go set up that alert. I didn't expect this topic to go that way, but that's the beauty of freestyling the entire podcast, is I can just ramble for a little while. And look at us. We've already made it 20 minutes. 20 minutes longer than I expected. What else is going on? Well, my friend Nick is coming over in probably about an hour. He's going to be my designated driver for the evening. And because of that, I pay him in in food. Not anything else but that. So the plan today is I have a little bit of bacon. I'm going to try to make a simple ass like cacio e pepe, which is going to be like, it should be pecorino romano and starchy water sauce combined with noodles to make a classic Italian dish. And they put a ton of pepper in it. But what I'm going to do, oh, bro, we're changing the game. We're going to add onions and bacon. So it's going to be, what's that Italian dish where they put the guanciale on top? And they do something similar, except I think they add heavy cream. And then I think maybe instead of pecorino romano, they just add regular Parmigiano Reggiano. Anyways, carbonara. Anyways, we're mixing up the carbonara and the cacio e pepe. We're going to have a really peppery carbonara with, instead of, obviously we don't have guanciale. Am I even saying that right? Guanciale? The more I say it, it sounds weird. We're going to do something like that, but instead of that, we'll use bacon, and we're adding onions because we're a little bit healthy. And maybe on the side, 1 or 2 single, lonely pieces of broccoli so we can feel better about ourselves. I'm very excited to cook. You know, I love cooking for everybody. Every once in a while, though, you look to the people you just cooked for, right? You look into their eyes. You say, "Man, this is really good," right? And they go, "It's okay." And I go, "Oh, the alternative. You were about to eat a Hot Pocket for dinner, and I went through all this trouble to make a classic Italian dish, and you have the nerve to tell me it's okay." It's always somebody with the fucking palate of an 8-year-old going, "I liked it, but you know, it had onions." And you go, "Bro, you're 37 years old. An onion can defeat you?" "Nah, it was okay. I just wouldn't have put onions." Like, bro, it's an onion dish. There's onions in it. There's onions in everything. Every soup you've ever eaten has onions in it. Well, onions are okay as long as I can't taste them. And I go, "Okay, you fucker." I'm surrounded by 8-year-olds. Just complete bullshit, man. So excited to cook today. As for the weekend, one more thing I wanted to run by you guys. It's not coming up soon, but on the 30th, I'm going to a potluck. I always go to this guy's house. We skateboard, party, hang out, drink beer. He's got an empty swimming pool to skateboard on. He's got a ramp. He's got some dogs. His kids are awesome. His wife is awesome. We go over there, hang out. Great time always. And I bring these spicy chicken wings, and everyone loves it. Whenever I walk in, everyone's like, "Oh, Steve-O," or Ninja. A lot of them call me Ninja. "Ninja, you brought those crazy chicken wings again? Oh, I got to try one." And then they bite it, and they go, "Oh, fuck, it's so hot. Oh, man, I can't believe I bit one again." And that's like my contribution to the party, and it makes me feel like loved, right? I'm like, "Oh, I did something. Well, look at that fucker. Brought fucking corn chowder." Ew, no one's gonna eat that shit. No one fucking goes, "Oh, Sally, you brought the corn chowder. Oh boy, I gotta try that. Oh man, let me stop skating so I can go have corn chowder real quick." No one ever does that. You gotta bring the right foods to get people down to eat them. So I was considering this, and if you guys think this is a dumb idea, then tell me another idea. What's your go-to potluck idea? Like, you bring food, they bring food, everyone kind of brings food. What's your go-to idea that never fails? Like, for example, guacamole. At the end of every barbecue, the bowl that had guacamole, it's always empty. And then the bowl next to it that has like sour cream dip, that one's always halfway full. No one ever clears out all of the chip dips, except unless there's guac. Even if it's brown, I'm usually the one cleaning it up. Like, oh damn, no one's gonna eat that brown shit? I will. Fuck that shit. But I was thinking, you know, the King's Hawaiian rolls, right? They come in a pack of like 12 or 15. They're kind of like sweet little tiny. If you haven't seen them, they're kind of like little tiny. Fuck, I don't know. They're a little sweet. What do you explain? How do you explain that? A little sweet tiny piece of bread, a little handheld piece of bread, like a little dinner roll, but it's smaller and kind of sweet. I was gonna turn those into sliders, right? I was gonna cut the entire sheet in half. I'm gonna do some type of meat or even ground beef, some type of cheese, meat, cheese, probably no veggie, probably no lettuce. Meat, cheese, and then go in there and put some very spicy sauce on the top of each one by one. So that'd be 12 dots of something very spicy. Then put the top bun on. And then I was thinking to brush on some melted butter and then crack on some ghost pepper flakes so that you get the heat from the inside and you can get the heat from the outside. Then you do a quick bake on that, get everything melted and ready to go, and then serve them like that. And then cut them out. And then put, throw a spoon in there and everyone can grab one at a time. Similar idea to chicken wings. You still bring that idea of like extreme spice. I think it's a great idea. But if you guys can come up with something else, I'd be willing to listen to your guys' ideas for potluck. Especially if you're listening to this on YouTube or something like that. By the way, this podcast comes out on YouTube every Sunday. What else is going on? Well, if you guys were here 3 weeks ago, you're going to know what this is. This is the Ozark Trail pocket knife with D2 steel. It was only $10 at Walmart. They've been selling out in Walmart across the country. I begged you guys to check your local Walmarts to see if you could find some, because every Walmart I went to, they were sold out. They don't list them online, so you have to actually go in person to find them. And whenever you do find them, people are buying these and reselling them on eBay and on Amazon for double and sometimes triple the price, because the quality of the steel is a much higher quality than what you would typically get for $10. So I finally found them. I had to look around quite a bit. It had to be the orange ones because the other Ozark Trails, they're not D2 steel. That's why mostly the orange ones are the ones that people are looking for. Even though they're ugly, the steel quality is way higher. They also have other Ozark Trails in 7-inch and 7.5-inch that look a lot better than that, but the steel quality is a lot shittier, and those are like $5, which would be great to buy a few of those to give away as like Christmas presents if you guys are into early shopping. Anyways, I was able to find them, and the build quality, super shitty. The blade quality is super good. I appreciate those of you who went looking around. I know some pictures in the Discord, they would go to their local Walmart and take a picture of like the knife area and be like, do you see it here? And it would not be in there. I will give you guys a little hint though. If any of you guys are still looking for one of these knives, my Walmart is super ghetto, but I found it not in the knife section, but in the section that has much larger hunting tools. It's like the big machetes and the big saws and the Rambo knives, the hatchets. I had to go to another aisle, and I found these at the bottom with no price tag. So the first thing I did, I was like, hey, dude, can you tell me if these are the right ones? There's no price tag on these. And they ended up being $10. So definitely, if you're in the market for a really good quality blade for work, let's say you open boxes all day if you work in a warehouse or Amazon, or if you just want to have something that you don't mind losing, that is the benefit of having a knife with really nice steel that is very cheap, is if it gets stolen or lost or falls out of the boat or falls out of the car or falls off of your hip, you don't really have to cry about it, because if you want to get a really nice quality blade in D2, it's going to cost you at the absolute cheapest $40 or $50, and on the higher end, it's going to cost you $150, $200. If you lose a knife that costs $200, you're going to be really feeling stupid the next day. So again, I appreciate you guys for looking around. I finally found them, and I'm happy with my purchase. Build quality is complete trash. The knife is ugly as a dog's dick, but it will be functional, and I will be opening a ton of boxes and gripping a lot of skateboards with this knife. So again, I appreciate you guys for helping me find them. And I was serious, man. I was really serious about trying to find these. And I was going to pay you guys to send them to me. No need for that anymore. I bought them and found them myself. Anyways, how far did we get today? 30 minutes in the podcast. You know, one thing I'm really good at is rambling. I could just keep rambling and rambling and rambling. It's a perfect skill for a podcast like this. But that is all I have to talk about. Can I get a oh hell yeah from everybody who is still here in the chat? If you tuned in late, don't worry. The repeat of this podcast comes out on iTunes, on Podbean, on Spotify, on podcast app, anywhere where podcasts can be found. You can find the repeat of this. Also, if you're in the Las Vegas area, come hang out after the podcast. We're going to be drinking beer. We're going to be playing pop darts. We're going to be playing pool. We might even be playing real darts. Maybe, if we behave. Shout out to Polartel for resubscribing. That was his 28th month in a row, and I appreciate all you guys for showing up. We got Day 23, Blue Dude, Fletcher, Hate Skate, iBook Boy, Day, Love My Toe. Oh, yeah! And I almost forgot to ask you guys a trivia question. So you know what? Staying late in class is beneficial if you want to win a free Ninja Lifestyle sticker pack. All you have to do is answer this question correctly and be the first one in the chat to do so. The question is, what is the diameter of a standard American basketball hoop? Explanation. This regulation size is consistent across all levels of play, from youth leagues to professional games, and is set by the NBA. The backboard dimensions are 72 inches wide by 42 inches tall. The rim height is 10 feet, 3.05 meters. Paul Miranda guessed 12 inches. Fletcher said 10. Day said 18 inches. It turns out the diameter of a basketball hoop is 18 inches. Day, you are the champion. Send me a message after the podcast to collect your prize. And as always, I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out. That is all I have to talk about today. Extra special thank you to iBook Boy for donating 1,000 bits. That will surely go towards me and my friend Nick buying a beer. I'll just say both beers were from you. So I appreciate the support. If you can't support the podcast with money, that's okay. I don't blame you. You can help this podcast grow by telling a friend, a coworker, a brother-in-law, somebody that you met on the bus stop, a homeless person that happens to have an iPhone somehow. You can tell them about the podcast so that we can grow, and maybe I can make more people laugh the way that hopefully I made you guys laugh. That's it for me. I will play some Mario levels after the podcast. But as far as for today's podcast, as I always say, don't drink too much and don't drink too little. All right, drink more beatboxes, get drunk, and lower your flat bar if you're getting fat in your old age. All right? All right.